Oh boy, do I love this beautiful planet Earth. I wonder how it's doing. Oh, global warming. It's lighting our planet on fire. Although we do have a way to solve it, and it's very simple and very straightforward. Killing everyone. Every single human. Now, obviously, that is an unrealistic idea because killing everyone. But we do have some solutions. But unfortunately, those solutions suck. Here are the mainstream solutions that most corporations, politicians try to incorporate in terms of trying to slow down global warming. Let's start with the first. Getting rid of oil and gas in exchange for hydro, solar, and wind. Let me explain to you why that doesn't work. Wind, hydro, and solar are super inefficient. They don't even produce enough for it to completely replace oil and gas. It's just not enough. Not to mention the amount of CO2 that it takes to just produce these things. We got our second reason, going vegan. If you are vegan because for health reasons, religious reasons, that's fine. For global warming's sake, you really might want to reconsider. The thing about livestock is that it's only about 14% of the total. It only contributes to 14% of the total global emissions. One reason is that you're not going to convince everyone to go vegan. There are way too many hardcore meat eaters. That is just not possible. 14% is so little in the grand scheme of things. There are a million things you could be doing, even on an individual basis, which we'll get into right now. Carbon footprint. I remember when they taught me this in school. It's like, they were like, look how much electricity and how much your parents are driving. And then and with this website, it'll show you how many Earths we'll need if everyone lives like you. Yeah, it's stupid. Blaming all of global warming on an individual basis from what we do just does not make sense. When you have corporations producing loads than anyone ever will in their entire lifetime, just doesn't make sense. Is it our fault individually? Somewhat. Yes. Can we help as an individual a little bit? Yes. But to go and blame it completely on the individual and go, you have to reduce your carbon footprint because you guys are the reason. It doesn't make any sense. One, sometimes we don't have a choice. Sometimes families don't have any money, so they have to go H&M, where they have fast fashion or whatever. Or just solar panels aren't affordable for people, a lot of people, right? And not to mention the fact that they also produce a ton of more CO2. Look, blaming it on the individual doesn't work. What would contribute more to reducing global warming would be holding corporations accountable. Our main priority should be taking corporations accountable, not the individual, but we can do some things as an individual, which I'll get into later. Because the corporations are producing more CO2 than any of us can in our entire lifetime. All right, on to my next point. Just plainly trying to reduce carbon emissions. Here's a little shock for some of you people. Everything produces carbon emissions, or at least when made has to produce carbon emissions. The shirt you're wearing, the chair you're sitting on, the camera I'm recording this with, even you, breathing, you are producing CO2. Everything does. Everything. Anything produced in a factory, CO2. So to just plainly try to reduce it just doesn't make the most sense in the world, since there are things that we don't have the technology to produce less CO2, like just for an example, factories. We're not at a point where we can significantly reduce those things. And you might be wondering, well, how do we solve global warming without just plainly reducing it? Well, introducing my solutions. First solution, if we're going to be on the topic of reducing carbon emissions, is using carbon collectors. Well, they are very expensive and cost a lot of money. It will eventually help us to bring us to this point of what people call carbon neutrality, where we produce the same amount as we collect. We aren't really collecting any at this point because we've cut down most of our trees. Yay! Which trees are also another thing we can add on to that solution, because they also collect more CO2 than they actually produce at nighttime. Anyway, next solution, nuclear. I swear I'm not being paid, but here's the thing about nuclear, right? Even if it produced the same amount of carbon emissions as oil and gas, it produces so much more energy as well. So that would be more efficient. And not to mention the recent breakthrough in nuclear fusion, which once we properly contain and learn how to do it again and again and again, could power cities with little to no waste or emission. But that's gonna take a little bit while. And Chernobyl and the one that happened in Japan. And here's the thing: those two are government incompetence, right? Chernobyl could have been prevented, and Fukushima was way too close to the ocean. And another thing people like to add is nuclear waste. Oh my gosh! First off, we know how to store that. We've been doing it. It's not like we've been doing nuclear. We just haven't been expanding and building more nuclear power plants. Which a fair point would be, if we did produce more nuclear power plants, then there would be more waste, which I actually agree. Which is probably a better solution to just put money into it rather than building more. This way we can reduce the amount of waste we put while producing more nuclear power plants, and producing more energy, and then and there's like this domino effect. And those are my solutions for fixing global warming and why the mainstream solutions suck. Thanks for watching.